So in continuation to the previous video of mine wherein I showed the basic use case wherein we should use a map instead of a nested for loop. In continuation to that, I'm going to show you further how to use a list of record within the map. So here you can see the type of the map is key is a string, but value is a list of records. So let's quickly see how. Now, like I explained you in the previous video, wherein we had a case object in which we had assignment field. So as per the example that we had taken, let's say we had gone with nested for loop and with this example. So let's say we have 3 queues in our org and we have 3 cases, and case 1 has assignment field as Canada, case 2 has assignment field as US, and case 3 has assignment field as India. If we go according to the nested for loop pattern, then we will have 9 iterations. So for this group, it will go through all these 3 cases. For this group, again all 3 cases. Again for this, all 3 cases, right? So we will have 9 iterations. But if we go according to this pattern, of using map here instead of for loop within for loop, we will reduce the number of iterations. Okay. How? Because now we'll have the maps in this form. So let's say we have the first map called Canada Q, okay, which has a case called C1 because C1 has this as its assignment field. The next one is US Q, which has C2, and India Q, which has C3. So this is how we have the value stored in map. And now from 9 iterations, we have reduced to 3 iterations. But in this case, we have like one case associated to one unique country value, right? But what if multiple cases had same country value? So what am I saying here is, let's say if it was something like this, C1 was in India, C2 also has India, C3 also has India as the assignment field, and C4 has Canada, and so on. Now again, here if we would have gone through for loop, nested for loop, then it would be for one group we'll go 9 iteration, for other again 9, for other again 9, which is not affordable, right? So we have to use maps here. But you would say that when we use a map, the key should be unique, right? And here multiple cases have the same key. So how can we handle that then? So for that, we need to have this kind of a map, wherein the key would be a string like we had before. But instead of using a single case, I would use list of cases as the value. So let's say if my key is Canada Q, so I have 3 cases under Canada, right? So I will have a list of these 3 cases, C4, C5, C6 in a list, and that list would be stored as a value against this key. So this is how we can handle this. Now, how can we do this in code? Let's see that. Now for doing that, the first thing that I did was changing the data type of the map. How did I make it? Now I have string as the key and list of case as the value. The second change that I made here is, what am I doing here is the way I put the values into such kind of a map is a little bit different. So the first thing that I'm checking is if this map does not contain the key. So let's create a map from scratch, okay? So let's say we are considering the first 3 records. The first ever record that we are on is, let's say, C1. Now our map, let's say group case map, does it contain a key called India queue? No, it does not contain anything for now, right? So what will happen is, if it does not contain, it will come here. Next, what will it do? It will put the key, let's say India queue, and as part of a value, it will create a new list of case and put the current case. So what will it do? It will create the list and it will store C1. Now, let's say again going back to the second case, what will happen? This time again it will check whether this group case map contains India queue or not. It does, right? Yeah, it does. So now it won't go inside this, it will come here. Now what are we doing here is, we just consider this much part first. So what are we saying is, get me the value where the key is India queue. So what will it get? It will get the value, which is C1. So it will get that list. C1, okay? It will get that list. And then on that list, I'm adding the new case. So on that list, I'm adding C2. So now my map will become C1, comma C2. Because when it did get, it got a list with C1 case added in it. And then in the next line, we are saying add the new case into that list, because that's how the syntax is for adding a variable in a list, right? So that's how we first got it from a map. We got the list of values. In that list, we added a new case. So this is how you put the values in a list of value map. Okay. Now, when it comes to retrieving, how are we going to do it? So here again, so here there is a difference between the syntax that we had earlier used. Earlier, what were we doing when we had a single case for a single assignment field? We were just getting that map's value and storing it inside a case record, because there was just one case record, right? But now the case is different, right? Like we could have multiple cases with the same key, right? So we cannot store it inside the case, single case record. So that's why we have to iterate, because there could be multiple cases. Okay. So coming back now, let's say we had our list like this, right? Like our map like this. So what would happen is, it would go to group G. So let's say the group was India Q. It comes inside and now it gets the first case and that stores here. So that is C1. Now for C1, oh, I don't know why it's not. Okay. Now for C1, the owner ID changes to the current group ID. Then again, it goes back, gets C2 and C2 stores here. And again, we are changing the C2's owner ID to this group ID. Now, some of you might have a question that again, we are using for loop inside the for loop, right? But no, there is a difference. See, if we would have not used a map, right, then it would go 27 iterations. Like for first group, 9 iterations. For second, again 9. For third, again 9, right? But here when we are using map, that's not the case. Even if we are using for loop inside the for loop, there is a difference. How? I'll show you. See, for group G, let's say we are considering Canada Q. So for group G, we are this time only going through the cases where the group is Canada Q. Now, instead of 9 cases, I just have 3, C4, C5, C6. So in this for loop that I have, I'm just going through 3 cases. So this is the best how I could do it. So this is about how you can use a map wherein the key is like a string and the value is a list of records rather than a single record. I hope it helped. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.